I'm Brian Loftus. A family says something crashed into their backyard, prompting them to call 911, saying they saw creatures walking around.
Our 8 News Now investigators digging into this for weeks now, and tonight our David Sharns with the video you will only see on 8 News Now. David?
Right, Denise, sources telling the 8 News Now investigators that several agencies believe something landed or crashed. Whether it was non-humans or not, it certainly scared the people living on this property. Now, before we show you that video, listen to their call for help.
There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified of it.
So there's 2 people or 2 subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot. 9 feet, 10 foot, I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it. And big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
Okay.
Well, the 8 News Now investigators obtaining video as officers then responded to the call you just heard. You'll see the officers also saw something in the sky that night, but the big question is, what was it, and is it all connected?
Leave her alone.
It's almost midnight on May 1st when a Las Vegas Metro Police officer's body cam catches this, something flashing low in the sky.
911 emergency.
Minutes later,
There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
someone calls 911 reporting 2 large figures in their backyard.
No, I'm so nervous right now.
The 8 News Now investigators obtaining another officer's video as he's sent to the Northwest Valley home.
I have butterflies, bro. I've only thought of shooting star, then these people say there's aliens in their backyard.
By now, it's more than an hour after that bright light. Officers meeting up with the caller and his family.
What'd you see?
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious. Did you see anything land in your backyard? Or
they see like a big, that's what they say. They see like a big something with light.
What I saw right now, I do believe in it.
Police walk into the backyard to investigate, but Metro blacked out that part of the video because it's considered private property. What's clear, they're taking this call seriously.
Hey, this might sound like a really dumb question, but did you guys see anything fall out of the sky?
Asking others what they saw.
I would normally discount it as nothing. However, seeing as one of my partners said they saw it too, only reason I'm actually investigating it further.
That investigation turning up no concrete answers as of Wednesday. Whatever or whoever fell into that yard, long gone within minutes.
Oh, hey, if those 9-foot beings come back, don't call us, all right? Deal with it yourself. I ain't dealing with that.
So yeah, this is quite weird, Brian was saying as we're watching this story. Now, we've been in contact with the family in that video, and as you heard in that 911 call, they seem very reasonable and honestly quite scared as you heard them in the call. No, they don't seem impaired in any way, and whatever crashed by the time that police got there was gone, but sources say that there's really no dispute. Something was in their yard. Exactly what? We do not know.
I mean, it's so interesting. So, like, the Metro officer sees something, the neighbor sees something. I mean, so what could it be?
Well, we know that there are obviously a lot of military bases around this area. George Knapp covers a lot of that stuff for us on the 8 News Now investigators. We're showing you drone video from above that area. And we know, of course, Creech not far away, Nellis Air Force Base not far. I checked in with them. They say they are not involved at all, and we are waiting to hear from the Pentagon as well.
And you talked to these people. It seemed completely legitimate to you. And do you have any personal thoughts on maybe what it was?
Right. So it seems from talking to our sources that something happened. There was obviously some flash in the sky. A lot of people saw it that night on the night of April 30th, early in the morning on May 1st. Did that exact thing land in their yard? I don't know. But these people said they saw some SUV circling the area. Could this have been some piece of equipment that malfunctioned? Maybe they saw something and then someone came, I can't believe we're talking about this.
Right.
Someone came and
Picked
retrieved it from the backyard in the SUV. We don't know. This all comes as a former high-level intelligence officer, an Air veteran, was on News Nation talking about how there is a program where the government collects some unidentified objects. So this might be that. We just don't know. We're going to work to find out, though.
And
Brian
no
Denise.
substances. They were looking with clear eyes. Goodness.
Very interesting.
Not big buggy eyes, though.
This is really unique. Thank you, David.
Okay, so I'm not gonna say that it's all fake, because I believe there is something out there. But how come they never recorded it? Like how difficult it is to pull out your phone and record a video. And on top of that, that 8-foot creature, right? It was in their backyard, then it was gone, poof.
It was a container full of dead babies. And in 1982 in California, there was this doctor and he had a shipping container in his backyard. And I'm not sure if he was like making payments to pay it off. So he failed to make payments. Check didn't go through. Somebody went to go repo it. So they took the container and stuff. And first of all, it was mad fucking heavy. It was hard for them to put it on the truck. So hard that they couldn't take it off the truck.
Damn, what the
That's
fuck?
how heavy it was. Yeah. So it was so heavy that they had to open it and basically unload it one by one. As soon as they opened it, one of the workers ended up getting hit by something. And it was a dead baby.
What the fuck?
As soon as that happened, they ended up calling the supervisor. Supervisor comes, they ended up seeing that in these cardboard boxes were a lot of plastic containers containing dead fetuses and dead babies. Exactly over 16,500
babies.
Dead babies were in there, bro. The authorities were called. Basically what that was part of an abortion clinic. Imagine seeing that, bro. Your fucking regular day at work.
I'm gonna get traumatized.
But people were saying that back then was when the news actually showed
fucked up shit.
So
this shit was on the news.
It was covered on the news, yeah.
What the fuck?
I'm gonna show you the videos now of like the people getting interviewed, like the workers and shit.
I got a radio call from Ron Gillette. They said the men were throwing up and there was something really wrong.
One of them fell down and hit me right in front of my feet. It was opened up and there it was. It was a mutilated.
Oh yes, this is super legit. It actually happened. So there were basically 16,000 fetuses, which were then buried in a mass grave.
So all of these websites are listed in very long, hard to remember codes that change very frequently to avoid law enforcement. And instead of using .com, .org, .net, you use .onion. Well, one of the biggest websites on here is called Silk Road. This website is responsible for 1.1 billion in transactions in 1 year. It is a massive drug market. You can buy things like counterfeit money on here, also Facebook accounts to hack into, fake passports, stolen credit cards, and I may or may not know a few people who have gotten their fake IDs from there. Honestly, not uncommon. Now, there's also hitman websites on here as well. For example, you have something called Assassination Market. And y'all, this is insane. On this website, a victim will be added to a list of targets. Users will bid Bitcoin on when they think this target is going to die. The most accurate bidder gets the whole pot of Bitcoin. The problem is that many of these users start to just participate themselves so that they can win. Like they become the hitman, which is way cheaper than just hiring an actual hitman.
Yes, all of this is real. These aren't conspiracies. And a few years back, they shut down the Silk Road.
She's back. This is everyone's annual reminder that Shenyun is put on by a cult called Falun Gong that's responsible for the deaths of over 1,000 of its members. Falun Gong is not an ancient Chinese spiritual tradition. It was created in the 90s. They're against gay marriage and interracial marriage, and they performed arranged marriages on their compound in upstate New York, where they had to flee to because they're being persecuted by the Chinese government for being so freaking awful. But we love predatory cults here in the United States, like the Mormon Church and the Church of Scientology. Scientology tells people that they can cure their illnesses using their mind via something called Dianetics that they completely made up. Falun Gong does something similar, and they encourage their practitioners not to trust modern medicine or go to hospitals when they have a medical emergency. That's why so many of them have died. In China, the government only allows the traditional approved religions. This prevents new predatory cults from popping up and taking advantage of people. Some parts of China even have laws that prevent children under the age of 18 from being brought into churches or other places of worship. Interesting. But yeah, you can see satellite photos of Falun Gong's creepy cult compound and Shenyun's acrobatic training school in upstate New York using Google Maps. And Falun Gong practitioners can be really pushy. They will go and harass store owners to put posters up in their store windows.
是邪教的，你走不走？邪教是共产党。这他妈的，你得走不死，你跟我走吧。是啊，那是他妈的。
If you don't support their predatory cult, then you should push back. Don't tear posters down from somebody else's property, but spread the word because a lot of people don't really know what's going on. They're also right-wing political fanatics with their own newspaper called the Epoch Times. They've produced pro-Trump documentaries, and now they're starting to content farm on Twitter, which is making me a little bit nervous. Like, what is the end goal here? A lot of Westerners will just give them a pass without really looking into what's going on because we exotify Asian spirituality. So even though this is a cult that popped up in the 90s, we give it the same weight that we give ancient Chinese traditions and spiritualities, but it's really not anything like that. I'm going to China at the end of the month, and when I went to the Chinese consulate in Midtown to pick up my visa, it was pouring rain, and these poor exploited cultists were standing outside in the pouring rain holding signs in front of the consulate all day long. These people are being taken advantage of because there's a lot of money involved, but in their own agency, they are religious fanatics. And when I was walking to the subway a different day, I saw one of those Christian fanatics yelling through a megaphone that everybody's gonna burn in hell. And I realized that these are two sides of the same coin. But one side, we're giving a fancy show in a nice theater in downtown to for some reason.
If you've ever had any of these dreams, you should be scared. We need to talk about this. Okay, first we're gonna be talking about dreams where you're falling. Well, if you've ever had a dream of you falling, it could mean that your life is in danger. Basically, the theory goes, if you dream of yourself falling, it actually means that you've been escaping death because you're falling from heaven because your body refuses to die, and so it comes back down to earth. But the more dreams you have about falling, the worse, because everyone always wakes up before hitting the ground, and it's said that if you hit the ground, that's when you officially go. Okay, next let's talk about dreams where you're running away. Now this theory goes, if you're running away from something in your dream, it means that something in your real life is catching up to you. Now this could be something small like bad grades, but it also could be something bad, like a person is coming out to get you and they're getting closer each day. And lastly, let's talk about those nights that everyone has where you can't fall asleep. Well, it's said that when you can't sleep, it's because someone else is dreaming of you. But not just any dream, a sexual little nasty dream, and that's why you can't fall asleep, because part of your sleep is literally being used.
Well, so basically we can't see ourselves die in a dream while we are falling because our brain has a natural tendency to fight against such stressful situations. And there is another famous conspiracy that we can't see ourselves dying because our brain can't process what comes after we die. So yeah, it's partly true.
The CIA knows when the world's gonna end, and here's the proof.
There's a CIA document that came out. It's called the Adam and Eve story. It basically explains how the world is going to end. Has it been true? Well, it makes sense. They say the world is going to end because the poles, North and South Pole, they shift every 12,000 to 15,000 years. And once they shift, it causes a giant apocalypse, big earthquakes, giant tsunamis. Once the apocalypse happens, we go right back to the Stone Age. So according to this information, the first humans similar to us existed around 10,000 years ago. We were in year 2000. So that means that we're at the year 12,000 right now. And now we see global warming, earthquakes, and so on. What's also mind-blowing is that in the book, it says that we are the 6th civilization that came out of the apocalypse. And that would also explain a lot because the Sahara Desert used to be green and the Antarctica used to have forests. So are we just in a constant loop? That's the exact thing the Bible was talking about, the massive fluid. Also, that's what probably happened to Atlantis. It would make sense for a city in the water if the water wasn't there before.
Wait a second. So that is why they are building bunkers in Antarctica?
You know, in the Titanic, you heard of the Jack time traveling, right?
I know that one, but it's kind of far-fetched though.
But it was kind of crazy because I was like, what if Jack was only on the Titanic to make sure
tell the theory.
Yeah, no, that's the whole theory. So Jack is a time traveler that made sure the Titanic sunk. There's a whole video on it.
But I don't get it though. Why though?
I don't know either. But it kind of made sense because there's little hints that he was a time traveler, because one scene was when he was talking with Rose, right? I think it was one of his first ones, and he was like, yo, I remember back then when I went fishing in the lake, and that lake, and their conversation happened in 1920, but that lake was built later on. Oh, so how did he know about that?
He said the name of the lake?
Yeah, he said the name of the lake, and that lake was built later. And he also said something about a roller coaster that was also like built in the 1917s, but the conversation was only in the 1900s type thing. So I was like, kind of makes sense.